We're going to go straight in, but here we go. There's a couple technical difficulties. Like your brain. Give us. We butcher pretty much every genealogy that we try to read. Please begot so-and-so. There's a lot of stories about acid trip. We didn't sleep before we did this one because there's a whole lot of death around us.
Why not?
And that's it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 16.
Yeah.
Motherfucking Cain and Abel.
I keep putting up videos on TikTok that keep getting banned. So I'm trying to get the word.
So you're doing it right.
I think so.
So you're successful. That's how you know you're successful.
Yeah. They catch them now instantly too. So enough people.
And so what was the one in the bath why did they take that one down?
I don't know because I wasn't smoking any of the stuff.
You're not allowed to say "fucking" and "Jesus Christ" in the same sentence or something.
I think I just made a couple people mad. I think we just made a couple people mad. It's okay.
Oh, and people are complaining?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's probably because I tag all the super Christians in it, like John MacArthur and those Baptist people. Yeah. But
good. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But so I wake up at what I thought was 3:50, come out here, start warming up, doing stretches, getting ready to typically what I do is work out and listen to the Bible,
Okay.
And it took me a little bit longer to get out of my room, and I was dragging my feet, and I halfway through warming up decided I'm too fucking tired. And I try to not do that ever because it's just then you'll keep sleeping in. But I was no, I can go back to bed today. And I go back to bed and realize that it's actually 1:45 in the morning. And I had gotten up and gotten ready. Had started my day and then went back to bed. And then I ended up getting up 2 more times and doing that. And I don't know why. I just got out of bed 3:15. And then I got out of bed 3:55, normal, and just started. Because I've been,
Why don't you check the clock, brother?
I swear, every time I checked, I swear my alarms were going off, and I swear it was time to get up.
Do you swear on the Lord's name?
I do. And then not only that, I had this fucking the last time before I woke up, I had this weird fucking thing that made me totally think of Adam and Eve. So I was half awake. Our dog made some noise, so I jump up and I look over. We have a desk in the corner, and that desk, the chair had a hoodie on the back, and it was in a shape that it made a face that was huge, 3 feet wide. And I had the trippiest experience where this face of this weird clown thing came out of it and just came towards me in our bed. And I was while it was happening, I'm I know that's the fucking hoodie. I know that's the headrest.
I put it there. That's my work.
Right. But it was I assigned this, unless I experienced some type of piercing of the veil of a different world this morning, but I assigned human agency to this hoodie. It looked like a face. It looked like something that could harm me. It looked like, it was really weird. So what I guess we're all saying is that everyone's in for a treat today because...
Well, then we should start with this because I think, I don't know if it was you. Were you the last time I did acid? Seems pretty like a good parallel.
Yeah.
Because things you just said are exactly represented in, and this is a dumb tour story, but it was a long time ago. It was 1999 probably.
Okay.
And we were in the van, and Kelly and I, no matter where we were, no matter what time it was, we would always go out and find a bar when we got, if there was one available.
Yeah.
This was in Tennessee or something, middle of nowhere.
Okay.
But the guy told us, over at the mall. So we walk over to the mall. It takes us forever to find our way in. And we walk in there, and it's like a commons. You're walking into a hallway with a desk, a folding table at one end, where the counselors or the teachers are sitting, only in this case, the teachers are the proprietor of the establishment and a couple cops. And we walk in, we got our uni on, the tight pants, tight whatever, leather jackets, stupid hair, and we're in the middle of Tennessee. And the cop looks at us, is like, "You fellas looking for trouble?" we're like, "No, sir, we're just looking for a drink." He's like, "Well, then I guess you came to the right place." We got also there are 4 doors, and each one of them opens into a separate bar. And he's there, and one of them has country line dancing, one of them has country karaoke, one of them has country and western karaoke, and one of them has the blues line dancing.
Damn.
And so we go in each one and have a drink and whatever. We're like, well, I guess we did that. So on the way in, we'd seen this little cafe that was open, or diner, and we walked there, and we just were about done eating. And Kelly's like, "You know what we should do?" I'm like, "What? Go home and go to sleep? It's like midnight." It's like, "We should take acid." I'm like, "You're fucking crazy. Why would you take acid? It's midnight. We're just gonna go back and go to bed." It's like, "We need to take acid." I'm like,
damn.
"You need to take acid."
And you did at midnight?
He somehow he convinced me that it'd be a great idea. Fast forward like 6 hours later, maybe midnight, so maybe 4 hours later, and we're back in the room, and I'm laying face down, and it's like the stage lights are right in my face, like the rainbow, like just fucking, they're all aflame, just like it's fucking bright as fuck, and I'm laying face down in a dark room. It's just like I'm seeing all the colors, and Kelly's having a really rough go of it. Like I think he was dehydrated, and I could kind of hear him whimpering a little bit, like. And at one point, well, periodically through this evening, like I'm in the, we got like 2 queen size beds, right, facing the wall, and the doors to our left. I'm in the right bed.
Okay.
And so periodically, I'm like, I look over my shoulder at the wall just to get some sort of reference, because it's really not very bright in there.
Yeah.
But that half coat rack thing, that like with the attached hangers that you can't steal.
Yeah.
That are on the wall,
Yeah.
That thing manifested as a cowboy hat that was sitting on the head of this dude that was sitting at the foot of my bed, sort of mumbling to himself, going, "Nope, don't do it, man. Just leave him alone. Just do what he wants. That's
oh my.
Says I do. What's happening?" And I'm just like, "Okay, no, I'm gonna do it. I can't exactly understand what you say, but what you sounds like you're saying is just go the fuck back to bed." I'm like, "Okay, And so the that happened like 3 or 4 times, and the whole time Kelly's just like, "Oh, geez, oh, geez, oh." And so this acid was like this black gel stuff, and it looked like the helmet. It looked like Darth Vader's helmet, like if you cut a little piece off it. So they called the acid Vader.
Oh my
God.
God.
That was the name of it, right? And so the next morning I was kind of debriefing with Kel, and he's like, "I don't know what was going on, man, but I was feeling like shit shoved in it." And I'm like, "Well, I think what was going on was Vader was having his way with you, and his henchman was sitting on the side of my bed telling me, just let him do it. He wanted to take acid. Here he is." And that's what that whole was.
Oh.
Wow. That's the end of the story.
That's fucking crazy. What if that is real too? Like, I mean, like, right? Everyone's been believing in a Jewish zombie, for years and years and years. That experience, experience might have some weight. That might have some legs, and like when it seems when you're like around death, like if you have a family member that's sick or someone's dying, like I see weirder shit happening in my life, and I'm not trying to be woo woo. Like
no, that was woo. That was just a couple of morons doing acid in the middle of the night. But I totally get what you're saying.
Right, yeah.
But you just said something about people dying and people sick and not being woo woo. But it's like, but I wanted to circle back around to if you don't mind,
sure.
Because my dad is still like your mom and my dad are like it's sort of a parallel, only your mom has accepted it. My dad still thinks he's gonna,
Yeah.
we're still hoping he's gonna pull out of all this. But he was back in the hospital, and it's just this
Yeah.
very strange time between when, and I don't want to like, I love my dad, I don't want him to die.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm also entirely in touch with, like, I'm 53 and he's 85, and he didn't die when I was 25 or 35 or 45. Like, I've had a lot of experience with death now that if he'd have died when I was young, I think that probably messes with kids and kids of parents a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I got to preface it with saying that, but it's this very, he's 85 years old and just had, 2 heart attacks, congestive heart failure, a gallbladder infection, and low hemoglobin, whatever, all this stuff, and it's like, okay, so he's, a betting man would say it's not going great. And it's like you mark the time from when it started, 5 years from now, it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is when it started, this is when it ended. It'll be this, and we're just in that window right now.
Yeah.
Which is a really strange thing. If they don't, when they don't just, and this again, I'm not trying to be dark about it, but like, if they don't have an easy out, and they don't just, it's not like a light switch. It's a very strange thing to witness. Your parents, your parents' demise, I guess.
Mortality.
Very strange.
Yeah. And I mean, you and I mean, you more than most have been around death and had pretty close. Right. And, I always thought about it since I was a young kid. That's what fueled my curiosity of God, probably, But when it's right in front of your face and it's affecting your family members, and it is different. I was pretty prepared for it. I've yet to let my hand shake. But it's it does kind of thin the layer between the spiritual and the physical world, at least to me. Maybe if it's even, I'm just thinking about it that much more.
Well, you're in the throes, like, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you're conscious of it or not. Like, death is like a daily part of your current existence. Not that it isn't always, but it's like it's right next to you, or at least or like you're saying, like a veil sort of comes off, a little layer of your inability to see the big picture or live every day in the big picture. It just sort of comes off, and all of a sudden there's this presence right here where it's like, oh, my dad is going to die soon. He's going to, maybe it'll be 6 months, maybe it'll be 6 weeks, maybe it'll be 6 years, but it's like, it's not going to be, it's not going to be 10 years, it's not going to be 5 years. It's going to be, and it's just a very, it's odd that we don't, I don't know what it is that, as soon as that, I'm sure as soon as it's done, the veil comes back up, and it won't be gone until the next person I don't know. It's very strange.
I don't know. Did you witness death as a kid? Did you see any like dead bodies or?
Not until no. That's a really good question, because that was something that I wanted to talk about also, is that, like, a lot of people have death in their immediate vicinity much sooner in life. The first person I knew a kid in my baseball team, like when I was in middle school, a kid drowned because he got drunk and went swimming at a lake. But
ooh, fuck.
But I wasn't really good buddies with him. We'd been on baseball teams, but it's like, a girl that I knew, she was, probably 3 or 4 years older than me. She died on the back of a motorcycle when her guy she was with drove it into a tree. They'd been partying or whatever. And it's like, but again, those were like people who were on the very peripheral of my social.
Knew of them.
I wasn't, they weren't day to day. They weren't foundational, and it wasn't until the woman, Lori, who was the person who helped load it out so much. She lived in Los Angeles, and some crazy thing, like they did a whole unsolved mysteries on her.
Oh man.
Because this whole, like, she was like,
shit.
You can Google it. I don't really want to bring it up because it's so foul. But yeah, so like that was the first time anybody who had like been in my kind of immediate circle, and that was like this just bizarre occurrence. But then after that, then like the shoes started falling a little bit. But I was, in my 30s, late 20s before it started being a regular occurrence.
Man,
How about you?
Very early, yeah. So my, both my mom and dad are kind of come from immigrant type farmer families, and so I think my dad has 5 siblings, and my mom has 8, 7. I get the numbers mixed up sometimes, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot, and like now that I'm older, it makes sense. Like my family wouldn't let me play football or fight. And like
let you fight just out in the street?
No, like karate or
okay,
or
martial arts,
like,
or whatever.
Yeah. And well, both my uncles are bikers. Like, my uncle was actually the president of the Gypsy Jokers up there. But yeah, my uncles are both like, done time in San Quentin. And one of my uncles that married into my dad's family was like, he looked like Sylvester Stallone. He was like, he had the clean and jerk record for a long time for Washington State. And like, he was like a bandit. He was a thief, and like, went to jail for a long time and got AIDS. He was in jail for like 11 years. And so I guess it wasn't 11 years. That was totally wrong. Excuse me, like 4 maybe. But I had known him as a little kid, and he was just this towering, fucking jacked, like scary looking dude. He was, scary. And he had gotten out. He's been out for a while. He got really sick, and like my family was visiting him, and I saw him the seconds before he passed away. And it was the weirdest, because I was like, maybe 10. But here's this guy that used to be like 265 pounds, and now he's like 109. And he's like in a bed cursing God, lips chapped, like, the lesions everywhere. Just like
harsh out.
And it was crazy to see. And, as a someone who's only allowed to sing songs about Jesus and only allowed to read the Bible or go to church. And you see someone end their life that way, cursing God, like screaming at God. Like, it was fucking heavy. I see it right now in my mind. Yeah, it was. And to be honest, as years went by, I consider it a gift, because it did make me think about that moment in my life and what fucking matters, And the funny part is everything we just brought up does lead us right into our fucking passage this week.
Yeah, it's so good.
This shit's crazy.
I don't mean it's so good. I mean, it's like, that's exactly what I was like. Oh yeah, I want to talk about parents. I'm talking about parents and family and begotten and begetting.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we're getting into that. But there's just, man.
Are we starting at Genesis 3:4, or where are we starting?
We're going to start in 4, but maybe we should just try to let me bring up my Bible right here.
So excited for this,
dude!
Right fucking away, dude. I'm like right away. I got shit to deal with here, man. Where are we starting then?
Well, you were asking a question before.
Oh, we can get to it. I want to just go in.
Oh, okay. Well, so I think where we go into this is by one, admitting how fucking much shit is here. And like, it's so ridiculous what's happened in 3 chapters, if you think about it. Like, shit's been busy. Shit's been busy.
Well, it's creation. It's foundational. It's foundational for the rest of time. Okay, it's like if they're you got to start. It's like if you have to start from zero, the learning curve is steep. Okay, the information curve is steep.
And,
Right,
and with reading this now as a developed adult human, instead of an quotation biggies, instead of a fucking indoctrinated young kid who had no choice, right? I'm finding all these insanely weird errors. Like, I never knew about the two different gods. I never knew. And, that's weird for me because I read it a lot. So to miss something that big is crazy to me, right? And the more...
you weren't looking for errors or discrepancies. You were like, I have to just read this. I have to read this. I have to read this.
Yeah. And now we're doing it. And the errors and the discrepancies are my favorite part.
It's pretty cool.
It's the coolest part because I do think that these are not, I don't think this is a literal thing. And I think that makes it more pungent, more potent, more powerful in your life now, today, than it being literal. And I think that there's this weird reverence that I'm starting to have even more. And to be honest, I used to have quite a bit. So at the end of chapter 3 here, there's a lot that went on, specifically like the fall of fucking man.
Yeah.
And then we kind of devised that the covering of Adam and Eve with these animal skins was the first sacrifice. Because before that, we were reading that everyone and everything was a vegetarian. So in Christian folklore and like a lot of, I don't know if you've ever been to a church with a bunch of flags like hanging.
Yeah.
They always have
out front.
Yeah. Purple, a lot of purple. They'll always have like a lion and a lamb, right? They'll always have like an apex predator and it's, easiest prey. And that is the symbology of God's perfect creation back then. Okay.
So really, really briefly, because you said first sacrifice, and I was thinking a lot about that. And you're speaking about, Genesis 3:21, and the Lord God made garments of skins for Adam and his wife and clothed them, right? That's what you're saying. And you're taking from that means that's the first sacrifice, right?
Seems like it.
Well, I'm not good with seems.
Let's put it this way. And
he definitely procured skins, but this doesn't sound like, and this is the other thing. It's like these guys, yes, this isn't literal necessarily, right? It's just it's checking boxes, right? and I think the box checked here is that, well, why do we wear clothes? Oh shit, we got to put something in there about clothes or my fucking kid won't stop asking me.
See,
it's not deeper than that, man. It's like a lot of this stuff is just box checking for the 8-year-old, where it's like, why do we wear skins? Where do the skins come from? Why do we wear bark?
It's fucking
and
itchy.
So I think dude, the moss makes me rashy.
Why does he get the mammoth?
I don't want the moss sweater. So I just think it's important to like temper. You're going all the way to you're pegged red line at like it's the first sacrifice. I'm like, maybe it's just a sweater. Okay, but it's important. Well, it's important just to like 10 and 2.
For fucking
just have
real.
10 because we'll be going in circles the whole time.
Well, yeah, that's my problem in life, right? As I wake up.
I got no 2. Right.
It works out over long periods of time. But here's the deal. If Adam and Eve did not partake of that fruit, those animals would not have been killed.
Says you. Because I see your if they didn't eat the fruit and raise you Genesis 1, man. Every tree here and the fruit bearing trees and the seeds are for you. Go ahead and master this bitch.
Yeah. But that's all vegetarian.
Well, it's fruit. Fruit is vegetarian.
But you wouldn't need to kill an animal then. Why would there be any need for an animal to do anything but die and decompose?
What?
Well, check. Because if God... Okay, keep going.
Well, like, okay, he says that. Why is there any need anyway? You don't need skins to wear around because you're naked. You need skins to wear around because you're freezing. And it never says anything in here about God created extra dense skin for the wintertime.
The reason he covers them with the skin, though, if you remember, is because they realized they were naked. So it didn't have anything to do with climate.
They already had the leaves they'd covered themselves with.
Right.
They covered themselves with it.
Right.
Well, you can't just jump from that he did that because they were naked. He did that. I mean, they already had leaves, and so what do they need garments for? They already created garments out of fig leaves.
Right, because I think there's a huge theme in the Old Testament that now I'm totally seeing in a different way than I used to.
Okay,
and it's sacrifice, because it's one of the most prevalent things we're going to encounter here. And here's the weirdest thing. If you want to make your future better, what do? Well, one of the best ways to make your future better is to sacrifice pleasure right now and work towards something, right? So let's say you give up your free time to watch Netflix to work on your fucking podcast. Okay. Well, yes, you don't get the Netflix in that moment, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
I do. But
I think if we're watching human beings come out of nothing into knowledge, into consciousness, let's say, right? I think one of the things we figured out is that this place, one of the things you can do here is sacrifice.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm totally hearing you, but and the thing is, it's like, so the weirdest thing in a book full of weird things, right? I don't think that like if the book is full of sacrifice, it says sacrifice. They don't fuck around very much. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty clear on, at the very least, they're pretty clear on what they're trying to get across.
Sure.
With like which words they use, right? They don't say sacrifice here. He just says they made them garments.
No.
You know,
I just
like
no.
People are you're bringing something with you when you say, I think this is part of the sacrificial.
Well, we'll see, because
the theme, but you're tying that together.
But we'll see as we keep right. Yeah. No. I am. Every time you come to these stories of the Bible, and this one we're about to get into, Cain and Abel, is fucking the same way. One of these lines, two of these lines, there is so much information here. There is so much going on. There's so many ways to read it. There's so many ways to interpret it. And not only that, there's multiple ways you could apply it to your life, right? And that's kind of the discrepancy we're running into with the church in the 2021s, right?
Right.
Everything's...
Well, and that...
So, to me, just because it is such a prevalent theme, and, that's why we're doing this, and that's why I fucking have you, because, God damn it, I let my horses run, right?
Get the reins on that thing.
It's fun. But
it's super fun.
I do think that maybe there's more imagery or I think there's a lot more meaning in all these tiny, simple verses than I'm able to even pull out. So just, I'm bringing with me, like, God damn it, sacrifice is so much in the Old Testament. It seems like God is putting it right here at the beginning to let you know, like, fuck, yes, because of the fall, you're going to have to give up pleasures today to gain tomorrow. Yeah. And I could be wrong.
And where I land is the same thing. We got to the end of last time, is that this is just they edited a bunch of stuff together, and this God is the God from Genesis 1, where he's providing. This is the providing
but this
God,
is
not the negative God. This is the God of creation of everything, who provides everything, as opposed to Lord God, who says, look, you owe me for this. I'm the one who did this, so you owe me. because God, just straight God capitals, doesn't ever say bow down before me because I've done this for you. He's just like, go out and fucking be killer with this.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to look up to see if it was Yahweh or not, but I liked what you were saying so much I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but that's it. So like, yeah. So let's go to
do you want to read or you want me to read?
I like going back and forth.
Okay, so whose turn is it then?
I think it's yours.
Okay, there we go. So Genesis 4.
Are we at 4-1?
He's so pumped.
We're not going to get very far. We're not getting very far. Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't slept. I've been reading it too much. Now, the man knew his wife, Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gained a male child with the help of the Lord. Scroll down. Sorry.
No, it's cool.
I'm going
to let you go ahead. I'm going to let you go all the way to go to. So what?
You just stop me whenever you. I can stop right now.
I think you have to. This is like so fucking crazy right here. Let's unpack this. So this was written without punctuation. Okay.
Yeah.
And I like to write. I love
Let's
words.
say copied.
I love sentences. Right. Copied. Yeah. Well. Yeah. So okay. So now the man knew his wife. Let's say those. So now we know that knowing equates with having sex, coupling. Right. Yeah. The man knew his wife and she got pregnant. That's what that says. Right.
Yeah.
The man knew his wife and she conceived and bore Cain. Right. Then, and that word saying, and whether there's a comma there. I mean, someone put a comma there, but like, okay, okay. I think that like, oh no, I'm sorry. You know what? You have to go all the way to the next one too.
Okay.
So start over.
Sorry, I was looking up some verses.
I jumped the gun.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I got all the.
Where I'm going, don't you?
I think so. I got the Bible Hub open now.
Right.
That's why I'm always looking over here. It's my favorite. Have you been on the Hub lately? The Bible
haven't,
Hub?
no. But I need to. I have another computer. I could set it right here, but I don't know. That's going to mess with our.
It's fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you sure that's not what? Are you sure that's not what's messing with your mic?
No, I think it's me just touching it. My whole setup took a shit right before we started. There's a different camera, everything.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Which I'm guessing means we're doing something right because it's hard.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. So I blew it. Go all the way to the next spot. Yeah. Go all the way to 3.
Okay.
Start over.
She then bore his brother Abel. Abel became a keeper of sheep, and Cain became a tiller of the soil.
Okay, now read those two together because that was what I wanted to do.
Oh, 2
read
and
them
3?
together.
1 and 2?
1 and 2, yeah.
Okay. Now the man knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gained a male child with the help of the Lord. Then she bore his brother Abel. Abel became a keeper of sheep, and Cain became a tiller of the soil.
Okay, so and immediately I'm like, so now the man knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain. All right. So Adam and Eve have known each other once.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she said, and like, if you just like, so if you, it just takes, you take that word saying out. Okay. And take those quotations out.
Mm-hmm.
Now the man knew his wife, Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain. Period. I have gained a male child with the help of the Lord. She then bore his brother Abel.
Mm-hmm. And the Lord is Yahweh there, by the way.
And Yahweh's the guy who's rolling around, who's hiding, who's
number 2,
scuffling through the garden loud enough that they can hide from him.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So let me read that again, okay? Now the man knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain. Period. I have gained a male child with period, right? Cain's in the picture, right? Like next paragraph. I have gained a male child with the help of the Lord.
Okay, I see what you're getting at.
She then bore his brother Abel. That sounds like That sounds like old scuffling Snuffleupagus came in and tapped the mother of all creation, if you ask me.
Well, maybe that would be how we
Cain
don't
and
have
Abel?
inbreeding so much, because if the Earth is 6,000 years old, I don't know how we got to this number of people without.
Well, I think I hadn't even thought of that, because that's everybody's question, right? If Cain and Abel are brothers, and like who's hitting all the, how come we don't have like, and maybe it's and they say that the offspring, like the gods couldn't keep their hands off the home ladies.
Not really.
I'm telling you, man. So this sounds like so don't is are Muslim and Christians Cain and Abel's? Where's the division?
No, I feel like that was from well, I don't know, but I've heard ignorant motherfuckers in churches say that Christianity comes from Judaism, which comes from Isaac, and Isaac had a brother named Ishmael.
Okay, and how far down the line are those folks? How many begots
comes up pretty soon? Comes up pretty soon. There's a couple begots, but yeah, it's pretty soon. I mean, but I see what you're saying, because it's like translations are tricky.
It's weird.
And to be honest, and I'm not ancient cultures are tricky, right? Because we don't understand how these people live. So when they're telling us these stories, it's hard to put yourself in the mindset of someone from 1,000, maybe, or from 1,000 BC.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that it goes on to say that Abel, who in my interpretation of this is half deity, half God, because he's born with the help of he was conceived
by God.
I've gained a male child, which is weird because they use conceived for Cain, and they use gained for Abel.
Yeah, I'm
right?
that up right now. Oh, where'd you go, bitch? Yeah, I agree.
And I guess it could also say that maybe you could also read it like God was being the midwife, because she conceived and then bore a child with the help of the Lord. It could be that, I guess. Also,
it's also I have acquired, so it still works.
Yeah,
that's another translation of that. So, yeah, I think you're right, because we haven't even gotten to some shit starts to happen right here.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is it seems like Abel is just like a really good guy.
Well, and he's also the keeper of the herd.
Yeah. So now,
if we're going symbolism,
well, but so you got to remember back then, like shepherds weren't what you would think of a shepherd now. So a shepherd. Well, so no, King David was a fucking badass, dude. Like he kills a fucking giant with a slingshot.
I don't know what that means. Why is that a correlation?
Because a shepherd back then would sit out with their flock and guard them all night, and where they live in fucking, Africa, the Middle East, there's fucking lions, there's fucking predators. So the shepherd was someone that would like take on a lion if need be.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, but Jesus was also a shepherd of his flock. Like I mean, more of a figurative.
The symbolism goes on forever. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I didn't mean to get all.
No. What are you talking about?
Just like all of that is so like
fucking crazy. I mean, to be honest, I didn't pick that up until you started pointing this out ridiculously hard to me. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's keep going so we can.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah.
In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to the Lord Yahweh from the fruit of the soil, and Abel, from his part, brought the choicest of the firstlings of his flock, and the Lord, paid heed to Abel and his offering. But to Cain and his offering he paid no heed. Cain was much distressed, and his face fell. And the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you distressed, and why has your face fallen? Surely, if you do right, there is uplift." Most translations I used to read would say, "Surely if you do right, there's acceptance," or something to that effect. But if you do not do right, sin crouches at the door. Its urge is towards you, yet you can be its master. I think we have to pause there.
That's a great one. It's a great one.
Fuck, right? Because like,
that right there is a greatest hit. That is a great. That's like fucking. That's Let It Be. That's like fucking
Yes.
Jude right there.
yes, that's like
it's
Adele.
so good.
That's like fucking
Totally.
yes,
Well,
exactly.
it's bordering on Stairway to Heaven. You know what I mean?
Right. And like here's everyone kind of already knows this, right? But here's the thing: if Cain was the first person born, there's a really, in my opinion, a good argument that he's the first human, because Adam and Eve were created by God from this story. Adam and Eve were put in a walled garden and kept safe basically for their whole life and given dominion and like chores essentially. But they weren't like shot out of a vagina. You know, they weren't birthed the way a human's birthed, but Cain was.
Right. Yeah.
So if he's the first fucking human, the first human is a murderer. And that's crazy.
Well,
to
not
me.
yet. Not yet.
This is what's happening here. And like,
But we're not there yet. You're spoiling. That's
I already did. I said we already know the story. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
don't.
getting excited.
I mean, I don't. Jeez, I've never read this fucking book. And what's more, and the thing that's crazy is that the lesson here isn't like, it's such a great lesson. It's like, look, you just do your best, and regardless of the outcome, you should know you've done your best, and you should feel good about it. That's what this is saying to me.
Beautiful. See, okay.
That's what this is saying. That's what I'm saying. It's the greatest hit. It's like he's like Lord's like, dude, why are you bummed? Look, you brought this great fruit. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you didn't bring great fruit. You did the best you could. It's almost like, participation trophy. You like, the Lord's trying to he's trying to say, look, you crushed it. You need to carry around a mental participation trophy. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you didn't crush it. That's what he's saying to him.
See that? So like,
look, why are you distressed? Why is your face fallen? Surely if you've crushed it, you should be stoked. But if you haven't crushed it, if you haven't if you haven't done your best, then sin couches at the door, which couches at the door. Wow. Its urge is toward you. Like but yet you can still be its master. It's there, but you can ignore it. That's my take on that shit.
I mean, like, that is
that's why you can't go parading to the murder, because it's like God's like giving him God's giving him
an out.
This life, this lesson that if he heeds, it's like, oh shit, thanks God, that's really good advice.
Well, I see. I like that. It was always taught to me. Excuse me. And maybe I say like it was always my fear that it's the thing to me that's crazy is that they both sacrifice. So both of them sacrifice. They both give up. But one of them, and that dude tills the soil. So who's to say that that isn't his best? It
totally is his best. It says right here that in the course of time, Cain. Well, it doesn't.
Yeah. See,
it doesn't say that. Okay, Cain brought an offering,
and that's why
from the fruit of the soil, and Abel for his part. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. That it doesn't say how good Cain's offering was.
Okay,
but it doesn't need to, because that's not the lesson. The lesson is like, if it was your best. Great.
Yeah. See,
if it wasn't your best, then you're going to be sort of bummed. And again, this is sort of what you were saying. If it wasn't your best, don't you think you're going to want to, you can go one of two ways. You can be like, fuck it. I brought this and he wasn't into it. And so screw this. I'm not even going to try. And that would be sin couching at your door. But if you turn and you be like, you know what? I can do better. He didn't like mine. I still tried really hard, but he didn't like mine. I can try better. I can try harder. Mm-hmm. That's yet you can be its master. That's you mastering your inner whatever. So
no, dude. I've never ever heard. I'm high. I never heard anyone pontificate on this shit this way. I love it. I'm like taking it all in. Like, because I'm all this weird, and ever since me, it's been this way. And I mean, I'm kind of lucky I've been this way because I sucked at guitar. Now I don't, and like
Right.
I didn't necessarily have the best life, and but like now I do, and like fuck, this verse spars on a lot of this neuroticism or this fucking insanity in my brain because you can try and still fail. And so that at a very young age, because this is right here at the beginning of the Bible, right? It put into me that like, even if I wake up early, I could still wake up early and fucking fail. You know what I'm saying? Even if I try to please God with this or that, I could still fail. And it's just that fire and brimstone bullshit that gets people butts and seats. You know what I'm saying? Because that is a much more beautiful way to think of it. And God does give him an out here. Like you said, it's like, hey, so like sin is right fucking there. You could reach out and touch it. Or you could do better. And should we see what he does?
And he doesn't necessarily even, they haven't even, I don't know. Has sin, is that the first time sin is mentioned?
Yeah, right? Because the apple is obviously, the fruit is obviously sin because they disobeyed God, but it's never like mentioned. It's
never mentioned.
Well, it's mentioned they disobeyed a commandment, but it doesn't say the sin. This is missing the mark,
Right. Yeah. So this is the first time. Well, and if you look, sin, capital S.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. I mean, none of those other. Yeah. They could throw you a little capital there, don't they? In it, a capital S, in it.
Let me try to find the Hebrew here. It's taking a second. God damn it! Fuck that. It's taking too long. Yeah. So let me go back down. We'll continue. And when they were in the field, Cain set upon his brother Abel and killed him. And the Lord said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" And he said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Now, this is the fucking, God is so metal. This is the raddest verse to me. Then he said, "What have you done? Hark, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Therefore, you shall be more cursed than the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand." Fuck. Do we keep going? That's like,
yeah, keep going. Or let's talk. Yeah, it's very strange though that it's very strange. Cain said to his brother Abel, and then it's like dot, and it's like we're missing something there.
Yeah.
Like we missed the whole scene.
Or maybe through the years, maybe that piece of parchment got fucking torn off. Yeah, there might be a scene missing.
Because there is no, doesn't say shit. Let's the Fist of Fury do the talking, apparently.
Well, and like, there's already so much fucking here. This is already like a Quentin Tarantino film, totally.
Yeah.
And like,
totally.
Who doesn't know someone that is, for unfortunately, even though they don't want to be and they don't try to be, a fuck up, They kind of just, the chips seem to always be down for them no matter what they do, It's a hard place to be. I mean,
man, I really need to are all the Bibles like this? Like they just skip, and Cain says to Abel, and then he killed him.
Well, you're going to find out. Yes.
They're all like that.
It's this.
There's no version where you get the dialogue between Cain and Abel out in the field before Cain freaks out and kills him.
No.
This is it.
It'd be in here.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And I mean, I'm finding more and more, like I'm working on the Withered Report. So most of those stories are in the Apocrypha Gospels, which I've never read, but now I've been reading like crazy. So if there's any more of this story, I'll try to find it in those. But no, according to the Bible, what has been being taught all this time, no. And the weirdest part is everyone just acts like it's not there, and they act like it's perfect and inerrant, and it's like as you read it, you keep bumping into this shit. You're like, man, this is complex.
Maybe that's what do you have do you have a thing for the Withered Report, like what it is actually?
What it is? What I've done is, so you know me, so I'm kind of always reading like 5 different books at the same time. And so obviously I've been just Old Testament, just Genesis, just this book. I've just been as many lectures as I fucking can. And, but I have to take breaks every once in a while because I just can't get engaged. Sometimes, I push myself a little too hard. One of them, one of these books I've been reading is about heaven and hell. And it's very, 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 very fucking fascinating. And there's this Gospel of Thomas that gives you a guided tour of hell. So I'm excited to like dive into it with you at one point, but I'm just trying to gather stories of people being withered so I can like make a fake news report with Jesus withering people like Squires said we should do.
Well, but there aren't that many, are there?
In the Apocrypha Gospels, so far I've got like about 4 or 5, I think I found. So, yeah, if we get up to 7, that feels, we'll just do a little series.
Okay. Well, I want to because what I was thinking is like like another maybe we have to come up with another name for the report that I was thinking, but like these discrepancies, like this thing is glaring. I think like I'd like to start maybe doing like just short videos about like Cain said to his brother Abel, and then you get no dialogue with what's out in the field.
Well,
it's like and the part where like it sounds like maybe the Lord is Abel's dad. It's like, like just those little call outs, like you were saying, like make little videos of whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's the Wednesday. Maybe it's the Wednesday reading.
Oh, I like
the Wednesday reading. Or
I like that.
Just like
I have a lot. I have a lot. If you're in, so the coolest part about when people lie is there's this thing that happens. It seems to happen over time, where truth just kind of grows and grows and grows, right? And so we have all the original copies where we got the Bible. Most of the manuscripts, codexes, most of these scrolls, if you will, where we get our translations of the Bible are intact, and you can still see them. You can still, scholars and archaeologists can still study them. So I have a couple rad things I can send you on that, because the discrepancies in the Bible, meaning the spots where the Bible has like errors or it disagrees with itself, it says something contradictory, it's kind of blaring. And it's something that like I think is it's totally shied away from. Everyone just acts like it's not there, because it takes away what they believe about the Bible and about Jesus and about God. That's it. That's the only reason, because they think it's inerrant and they want it to be inerrant. And so now they're changing the truth that's right in front of their face. And it's a big, 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 big problem. And the funniest part is that's done out of fear to preserve, their belief system, right? But it ends up corrupting it completely. And like, if you do accept this complex, if you accept the complexity of this book, it's not even a book, right? It's the collection of these stories over time.
Yeah,
right?
we decided it's not a book.
Fucking no way.
It's a manuscript, sort of, but it's a collection of essays. It's
songs and poems. And
it's a trip report. That was my favorite one you came up with. Trip report.
I feel like that might be Duncan Trussell. Do you know that guy?
I know the name.
Dude, that guy literally saved my life. It's too long of a story, and I'm not going to get into it here.
No, he figuratively saved your life.
Figuratively, sorry, thank you.
These kids, man. Okay. Are we back, or what are we doing? Dude, this is like, okay, dude, it's so deep. And here's something else about this. Choice is part of the flock. Surely if you do right. Cain said to his brother Abel and then butchers him. The Lord says, hark, motherfucker. Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground as if I was a night stalker. As if I was a vampire, I can smell his blood on the ground. I am the undead.
That's so cool, though. That's so fucking metal. What do I mean? And it's so weird to me. All these parallels. This guy being the first human, his brother being obviously like a demigod or something now, you know,
something, right?
Like half god, half man, and that's why everything's working out. And like sometimes fucking shit just sucks, and sometimes you fail a bunch in a row. It just happens, you know. And like, if you're at that state, it seems to be that you are 1 second away from doing the most amount of evil you can as a human. Because like Cain isn't just killing his fucking brother, right? His brother is everything Cain wants to be. Everyone wants to be like Abel.
Well, we don't know that yet.
I think it's good enough to infer that everything Abel's doing, if we don't know why, everything he's doing seems to be working out.
Why everything?
Because God accepts his sacrifice. So what does that even mean? We don't, you know, like.
Hold on here.
All we know is that fucking Abel's the dude. All we know is that Abel's the big swinging dick here.
I don't believe that's the case at all.
Okay, argue.
Look,
help me.
Okay, so like, we have one thing. She then bore brothers. Sometimes Abel for his part. It doesn't say sacrifice. The Lord paid heed to Abel and his offering. And nowhere. I mean, you keep like, I'm down with how prolific sacrifice might end up being in these stories, but you can't bring that in yet because it hasn't been said. They're pretty good about using the word they want to use. And
we'll see if you agree with this statement you say in about 12, 15 chapters. But I definitely could be right.
But
you could be right.
But
I just don't. Right.
But for now, like, look, this is the first time I'm going through this.
You're
gonna have to treat it like it's the first time. Like you have all this. You got to kind of unpack some of your stuff because, or it's going to take us forever. Like,
dude, there's no way it doesn't take forever.
And that's actually a positive, right?
Yeah, this is 30 years.
That's why we're stoked. Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is, like, so in the course of time, both brothers bring an offering. Okay. And again, look at this. They're bringing vegetables or fruit and protein. Okay. It doesn't say sacrifice. The Lord paid heed. The Lord was stoked about dude's offering. And maybe he doesn't like zucchini so much. So he didn't, you know, that's all it says. That's all it says. It doesn't say that Abel is way better at tending his flock than Cain is at gardening. It doesn't say that.
Isn't it implied?
No, of course not.
He's successful.
Well, but that's I don't think that I think that's the problem, is like, if you're going to like put all this heavy shit on it already, when that's you're bringing that into it. Like, people have brought that. You can't infer from these words that Abel is better than Cain. I think
you can.
Well, I think that this whole story is what I was saying. It has nothing to do with how good Abel is. It's supposed to be, the point of this story isn't how good Abel is. It's teaching someone that even if you don't get chosen as first team, you can still be proud of what you've done. Like,
I love that. And I agree.
But if you're starting there, that's where I'm starting. So if I'm gonna disagree with you. But So like,
so I'm looking up. I look up this word offering, and it is used 54 times in the Old Testament.
Rad. I love that you have a tool that does that.
Bible Hub, baby.
Yeah.
But it is mostly like a present. An offering, a present, a grain offering, a meat offering.
Right,
but here's the deal. If you are someone that takes care of and uses animals for your profession, and then you take the best animal you have, the one that fetches you the most money at the market, the one that skin is the nicest, and you take that as a symbolic, and you give it up instantly to the thing that you don't understand to appease it, is that not sacrifice? To me, it seems like the same thing. That's what they're doing. They're giving an offering.
No, I understand, but it doesn't say they don't understand who they're giving it to.
I know. I'm
going to hold your feet to the fire, buddy.
No. You could do that. I think back then, if you were living back then and you were in the midst of all this, yes, we see that this God is coming about, Yahweh, right? But because there was two gods right in the beginning, right in chapter 1
or
and
more.
2, I'm assuming that, they didn't have everything together yet. Yeah, exactly. Or more. Sorry. Yeah, right. Right. So I'm just kind of building off these first 3 chapters, and so you stop me every single fucking time. But you might be right. I just always with the sacrifice. But I feel like if you're taking the first fruit, like if I closed some deal and then I took the percentage right off the top and
totally get what you're. Well, no, it's not. Your sacrifice is killing something.
That's what Abel did.
It doesn't say that he killed him.
He gave his first meats.
But it doesn't. He said, but if you ask me, the thing's still alive when he gives it to the Lord.
So, I mean, the entire practice of the temple, which isn't here yet. So so
again,
that's something you should have. You should have that one. Yeah, it's not here yet, but they do always take an animal and kill it for the Lord.
Right.
So that's what this kind of like continues on for a long time.
Brought the choicest of the firstlings of his flock, and honestly, I'm not sure. Like, and again, like I'm really excited to be going through this document.
Yeah, this is the shit.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm totally into, that he butchered it. Choicest firstling. That's like babies. It's like a lamb, baby lamb, whatever, right? That's totally cool. But the part where I love that you looked up offering, and for the most part, that's a gift. It's not like a sacrifice. Like how many times is sacrifice used?
Oh, sacrificed in the Old Testament?
Yeah. How many sacrifices are there? Like, and again, while you're looking this up, sacrifice is when dude tells dude to kill his son, take him up on the rock and kill him. That's a sacrifice. What about the animals? Right?
They sacrificed animals in the temple. What about animals?
Well, we're not there yet, though.
But that comes around pretty quick.
Yeah, but not yet. And again, I think that, like, man, seriously, if this is what all the fighting's over, I think everyone missed the mark.
I totally agree.
Missed the mark. Oh, I was saying that. I tell you that I thought that the Church of the Mark. That should be the name of our church.
Yeah. I like it. Oh, man. Well, so far I see 81 Bible verses, but I don't know if that's true. And I feel like it's more.
Okay.
But let's say 81.
81. And how many offerings are there?
That word was 54 times. That word that's used right there.
So not twice as much.
Not really.
Twice.
No.
So it's like, it definitely more. But the point is,
what do you think an offering was then? What do you think this word was representative of?
It's sort of like gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, like when the 3 wise men bring gifts, it's a gift. It's like bring gifts unto the Lord. Like I think it's that. It's not this blood. Like and how can it be a sacrifice if it starts with Cain doing it? Because you can't sacrifice a cantaloupe. It's like that's not.
But
really...
he's not using it for his own gain. He's not using it for his family's nourishment. He's putting it out in a field or on an altar, or he's giving it somewhere to someone. This offering.
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, like we don't. Yeah, all it says is that Cain brings an offering of fruit, and he's a gardener. He's a farmer. Shit from the ground.
I think it's the same as when you guys came here and I gave you an offering of Tangy, or when when you go over to somebody's house
Yeah,
When
but
you go
like,
over to someone's house and you
so
bring
did
a
God
bottle of
like?
wine.
So you think God like went and hung out with them, and they brought him a gift and gave him a gift?
That's exactly what I think.
Okay. I
Because they're already, dude. They're already snuffleupagus.
yeah.
The dude's already, yeah. Like this totally says. You think it's like a? I just see them hanging out here. Like Abel's is half dad, right? Abel's his dad, or Yahweh is his dad, as far as I'm concerned. And maybe, or at the very least, at the very least, he was there when he was born. He was the midwife, so like he's a pretty close family guy. He's a close family friend, you know. So he's either his dad or he's his midwife. You know, he's like the Uncle God, whatever.
Oh my God. God's Uncle Touchy? Oh no.
Hey, you know what? You're the religious guy. I don't know about that. I'm just Catholic. Oh, maybe that's where the Catholics get it from. Oh. Okay.
Holy fuck.
We're totally getting deplatformed.
Oh man, it's happened.
Yeah. But
like, okay. So you're saying, because like, I'm kind of excited about our pace. I know maybe everyone else thinks it's slow as fuck, but I feel like we could have spent years in just the first 3 chapters because there's just so much weird shit. And as we're talking about this, I would always just read through the Bible starting in Genesis. It's really hard to do because you'll skip around. You'll read other books along your way too. But you start knowing what happens later on in the book. And yeah, maybe I'm carrying in this later tradition where God no longer walks with man at all. Because that, I don't know, maybe that happens after the flood. We're going to find out. But like eventually the state of Israel the state itself becomes the conduit to God. And they have a temple and they bring offerings to this temple. So maybe I'm bringing that all in here because maybe God was just straight up hanging out with them. Like they're about to watch Monday Night Football. And
it's like you're doing like your spoiler. You're doing spoilers. Like maybe that happens. Well, you totally are. Like maybe maybe that happens in the future, but it hasn't happened yet. So stop telling me how the story ends, man. I want to watch this movie for myself.
Yeah.
And let's talk.
I studied a little bit too much maybe this week.
I don't think so, but I think that no, I just think you're gonna have to suffer my first viewing of this movie.
I will have some.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will have some long suffering with you. So I really like these premises. I've never ever thought about God being fucking the dad of Abel, and that's blowing my mind. I'm still kind of right there. But should we now see what the punishment is?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at verse 12. Let me scroll down and get a little. If you till the soil, it shall no longer yield its strength to you.
Oh, holy Jesus, dude. Come on. No, we got to talk. We didn't even talk about the blood. Fucking, he can smell the blood. He can smell the blood
it's so badass.
He can smell your brother's blood calls out to me from the soil. I was watching this show called What We Do in the Shadows, and that sounds a lot like those guys.
That's so fucking funny.
That's those same guys.
Bat!
Yeah, totally.
Bat!
That's those same guys. Those guys blood gets spilled, they can smell it.
Well, or maybe it's pointing to the omniscience of God, that he knows everything and is everywhere. Because that's what it was always taught to me. But I'm just devil's advocate. Yeah, you can't.
No, it's fine.
I don't believe it.
No, but I don't think you can do that here because they can hide behind bushes from him. You know what I mean? It's like we're not all knowing. It's like this is a very specific. This is a very specific thing he can do.
Yeah.
He can smell blood when it's spilled. That's like a vampire. Vampires can't see through bushes.
Man, God damn it! This is too.
It's a very specific. That's why, like, this is like
very excited.
This is not a cloud of a guy who can is omnipresent and can see all and know all in real time. He's like, well, Hey, where are you guys? I can't see you. You're hiding from me while I'm in the garden. You heard me and you hid. But hey, dude, what'd you do? I can smell your brother's blood. What's going on down here?
What if this is not meant to be taken that literally at all? Maybe if they knew 1,000 years ago, or excuse me, 1,000 AD when these stories were being told, fucking BCE. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just, but the problem is that people take it literally. People who are like, people that you grew up with take it literally. And so if they're going to take it literally, then I want to unpack that. I want to be like, okay, if you want to, I'll totally play on your field, but we're going to play. It's not going to be like, oh, he showed up and we're just going to rout him. You're not going to rout me. We're going to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's strange. Like, the more we dig into this, it's weird to see how modern Christians just close their eyes completely to massive portions of what they consider to be the Word of God. Still, I know this is weird, but it's still the weirdest thing with all these interactions we're having, that like 40x amount, like 48% of the country thinks that God inspired and wrote a book, and they've never even fucking read it. That's so God told you everything, and you've still yet to read it. It's really weird to me.
And this part where that missing sentence of the or who knows, maybe it's even longer than a sentence, where it says, and Cain said to his brother Abel, ... and then it's missing. For all we know, Abel was a fucking dick. For all we know, Abel was like, fuck, dude, you know what happened? I brought the sheep and you brought zucchini and the Lord smited your ass.
Oh, dude, this is like, maybe he's like the Zuckerberg.
Him. Maybe he was Zuckerberg, man. Maybe he was like,
stole...
oh, you know what? If I stole his attention, you can't even handle his attention. Like maybe he was just like, if it was yours, you would have gotten it, but you didn't. So it's mine. Like maybe he was a little bitch. Maybe he was a set of testicles, and so, but you don't know, because that part of the story is missing. So you can't just give.
And why would that be? Grief. Why would that be missing?
I like your thing about the fucking page fell off, because it's 4,000 years old, and it just fucking, that one got burned in the sun, or someone pissed on it, or someone spilled olive juice on it or something.
It's only 3,000 years old, by the way.
Yeah,
it's not even that. That's finding out the dates of when all this shit went down is baffling to me. That's been the number one holy fucking God, like sitting in the shower just staring at my hands moments of this entire podcast is putting that together. So
okay, so we can go on.
So God's a vampire that likes to fuck. Yahweh is a vampire.
Hey, we're just reading the words, and I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. Don't shoot the messenger, man. Sorry.
He's a prophet. Brother readiness, brother readiness and inspiration. Yeah. Man. Okay.
Okay, so you're on 12.
If you till the soil, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall become a ceaseless wanderer on earth. Then, Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is too great to bear. Since you have banished me this day from the soil, I must avoid your presence and become a restless wanderer on earth. Anyone who meets me...
And since you have banished me this day from the soil, and I must avoid your presence.
Yeah.
That's different.
Oh,
right, sorry.
And I must avoid your presence. And became a restless wanderer on earth. Anyone who meets me may kill me. The Lord said to him, I promise, if anyone kills Cain, 7-fold vengeance shall be taken on him. And the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest anyone who met him should kill him. I just had a fucking repressed memory come back. I'm going to read the next one short. Cain left the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. So there's a lot there. We might have to edit this out because it's off topic. But have you seen the videos of like pastors talking about how they like punch kids or kick someone in the face? Oh, I'm about to send you some videos.
Okay.
Yeah. So Cain, it goes bad for him. It goes really bad for him. So
And
now,
he kills. He's got to go. He can't be in the flock if you're killing folks.
well, and like that's what I was about to say. Like, I can't imagine, right? Like, what happens to your brain once you've killed someone? You know, or murdered. That's much. You know, it's not like
Well,
self-defense or manslaughter.
That doesn't seem like his big concern here. His concern is that since you've turned on me, anybody who sees me knows they can kill me. I'm like I'm easy prey. I'm out from under your protection.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the crazy
yeah.
part is that the strange part that I haven't entirely unpacked is that the Lord says, no. It sounds like to me, he's like, no, buddy, I'm going to make sure everybody knows that you're still my guy and they can't kill you because I want your torture to last longer.
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes across to me.
Yeah.
Is that how you?
Well,
is that how you?
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is where the fuck do all the other people come from all of a sudden? Like all of a sudden, Cain's like, everyone's gonna kill me. Where the fuck is everyone? You're the first fucking human, and your brother's the second. So how old are you at this point? And how did that many people come about on the earth? So, I don't know, but it also, you know, there is a thing if you're thinking about primitive humans. Like, imagine unbridled vengeance. You know, imagine if like Cain or Abel had like if it's like Kill Bill, you know, if he has like a kid that then grows up and thinks about fucking killing Cain every single day, and then he goes and kills Cain and whoever Cain is with. You know what I'm saying? That is like an unending cascading terrain towards hell here, bringing hell here, you know.
But
so like
it doesn't say any of that here.
No, I'm just trying to think of like why this story, why is this in here, you know? Like why is this his fucking punishment? Why does God treat it this way? I'm just trying to understand it. It's so heavy, and like there's the surface level easy, like, you know. But why would God spare him, like you say? And you know, and maybe your angle's more right, that he's just a fucking harsh motherfucker that wants to make sure he has the most amount of punishment.
Yeah, I don't know. The wandering part sounds pretty brutal too.
Yeah.
And is that a like does the Jewish faith lean into being a wanderer? Weren't they wanderers before they found Israel? Or is that why they were?
Well, they were lost in a desert for a long time, but let's look up. No, you know, from recollection. Oh, let me check. What verse was that? The wanderer.
Therefore, you shall be more cursed than the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. Like what? So that the
what
ground.
Number? There we are.
That was just a
12.
Yeah, I was reading 11 still. Opened its so that's some figurative stuff, I guess. The ground opening its mouth and stuff.
Pretty poetic.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you know, it's a little bit lost on me, I guess. I don't really have a you know, I'm trying to get it.
This wanderer fucking word only happens twice.
Wanderer does?
Yeah. And
where's
here in 12
one?
verse 4:14, then when he says it twice here, this is the only occurrences of it. Yeah.
Huh. Well, yeah, and this seems out of place. I mean, the stories that I get.
His punishment seems out of place.
Well, no, just the way, you know, like just kind of the way, like the whole this whole line of the, let's call it, you know, God A and God B, right? God A is the providing God, God B is the smiting God, or I don't know.
Are you talking about the two different Yahweh and Elohim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like this is more like they you know, they drop into God A periodically, but this could be either one. No, because check it out. So the Lord says, I promise, if anyone kills Cain, sevenfold vengeance will be taken upon him. Like he's like making a proclamation that everyone, like he's a sheriff that he nailed a thing up on a tree, you know. He put a mark on him, and apparently there's land. He's not wandering. He's settled. Cain left the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod.
I mean,
He's settled. He didn't
but
go
that's not.
wander.
His family must have been on the other side. You know, he
What
must have
family?
gone. Well, Adam and Eve. Well,
Doesn't say Adam and Eve left the place. But the other
Yeah,
thing is that
if he's
does it?
maybe-
Oh, you know what?
You-
Adam and Eve have like 1,000 kids. You remember, like we're about to get to the Begats and the Magets and everybody has like they live to be 900 years old. Let's
Wait, now you're spoiling.
yeah. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Let's keep,
Yeah. Let me get my readers on.
yeah.
Okay. Where did we leave off? Actually,
You're at 17.
there
417.
go.
Yeah.
Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch, and then founded a city, and named the city after his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Methuel, and Mehuel begot Methuselah, and Methuselah begot Lamech. Lamech.
Hold on. How many generations? No. I want to see how many generations that is. So that's Adam, Cain, Enoch, Irad, Mahuela, or whatever that is. Sorry, dude.
No, keep going.
Not you. I'm butchering that person's name. Methuselah. And we can just spin this fast. And Lamech. Okay, so right there you got grandfather, great grandfather, great great grandfather, great 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 grandfather. You know, like so. Right, that's eight.
Eight.
That's
Eight.
8 generations times
Okay.
times 9. 8 times that's 72. That's 7,200 years. Okay. That's 70. That's like almost 10,000 years worth of people right there.
Man, okay, so
if they all live to be 900.
okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no. So the weirdest fucking part is I do know that, like, you know, biblical historians take these genealogies and the next couple ones coming up, and that's where they arrive at the 6,000 years. And so it's
okay.
so it's really interesting that, you know, but I don't think they only apply the 900 years to essentially certain characters in the Bible. They don't think it was for everyone. So they think they give those people still normal lifetimes, I believe. So that will be fun, and keep that note.
Okay. Well, and maybe the ones who live for the 900 years, those are the half God people.
From the
Nephilim.
Yeah, from the Nephilim that we're gonna meet pretty soon. See, now we're all spoiling. We're so excited.
Well, but we're not bringing in. We're just talking like it's okay. Like there are greatest hits that I know the hooks of. You know what I mean? So it's like I might not know the stories.
No,
and so we can reference. The doodly doodly.
No, I'm just too pumped. I'm just too pumped. I'm trying to not be rude to the audience, but with
what we're not doing is bringing preconceived. You know what I mean? We're just like, okay, so that's all. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I don't mean to.
Dude, what are you talking about? You're my North Star, brother.
That's great. Yeah, cool. But the fact is, you're every other star in the sky. Like you know everything about it. And I'm just like one that's like, well, don't forget, I'm what about this one? So it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, it is weird having my trauma finally be used for something good, huh? But one thing that I have been, this story always fucks with me. And so I've been like really, I don't know if you want to call it meditating, but I've just been reading it over and over again. I've been listening to it. I listened to lectures on it I need to find a good atheist that talks about I need like that kind of source, because I have all these people who, Jews and Christians and moderates, but I need a good like angry person at this to really see it from all angles. But saw a weird dumb TikTok, and it made me think. It was this guy giving a lecture on the fact that Christopher Columbus is basically Britney Spears of yesteryear. That he actually wasn't even maybe that remarkable. Obviously he was a piece of fucking shit, but like when you think of people from history, they're not exactly what the history books say. They were more like the most popular figure of their time. And when you look back through this genealogy, it's weird because that Enoch guy creates civilization.
No, just the city. They named the city after.
What the fuck? What else is a city, right? That's where civilization comes from, right? Is this the first city, right? That's what. So when I was reading it, and I've never had this thought, so I'm just flushing out fucking shit, right? Like I'm not saying this right, but like, it's like, was there a shit ton more people around them, and these are just the most impressive humans of this time, or are these the humans?
I don't get the. I mean,
there's a city.
Like,
there has to be more people than them.
Not only is there a city, there are people traveling around in between either Eden and the city or whatever, wherever it is that Cain was supposed to be wandering. There's people all around who will kill you if you're not under someone's protection. So it can't be that these are the only people,
right?
Because God has to put a mark on dude to make sure everybody knows, and I'm not sure who everybody is, but if there was no one around, then Cain doesn't need the mark to keep him from being butchered because he's not under somebody's protection. What it sounds like is there were probably a lot of other books about the other gods, and this is just the only one that survived. or they're still in the they were burned in the library of Alexandria, now reside in the catacombs at the Vatican.
The more we read into this, the more I get to have these conversations with you, the more fucking magical this book becomes to me. And I wrote it off a long time ago because, I've yet to read the Quran, but I hadn't really read anything else. So I just thought I was biased totally. But now the more I'm reading it,
Yeah, boy.
There's a lot of ways to take these stories. There's a lot of ways to see this.
There's more than one, at least. At the very least, there's more than one, and who's to say that any interpretation is better or worse than another?
Agreed. Well, so one of the reasons that I'd never wanted to launch this shit, or was hesitant, I should say, is because I know a lot of good Christians, or a lot of good people that call themselves Christians, But I know a lot more that are complete pieces of shit, unfortunately. And
I don't think what we're doing is, I don't know. I just don't get the feeling that what we're doing is blasphemous.
Malicious. Yeah. Well, yeah, they
certainly
do.
not malicious.
They do.
Well, and but that's them, and
yeah.
Only because they're they haven't done this for themselves. It's like you can't just read a book in monotone. There has to be inflection. There has to be
at least context. I think that's if you want to have a robust opinion on it that can stand up against some scrutiny, you got to at least be able to have dates and times and admit what's there, because
or just as we don't have dates and times, we at least like perspective, and then you can't just, I don't know. Let's keep going, because this is it's interesting. This part, this seems like backstory. It's so strange. Like, this is where we're about to, just all the begats, and they're just filling the. We're going down generations here. This is generational.
And you can imagine this was status back then. This is a big deal in the near Middle East, like a long time ago. Oh, your last name, where you came from, who was your father and your grandfather? Were they great men? This is these are the great people that made
the
up
lines.
the Israel. This is where Israel comes from, Right. So, yeah. Well, I guess they're saying we all. Where do we?
Well, no, okay. I think, like you asked, is this everybody? And it's I don't think this is. I think this is just a couple. This is just one bloodline,
Yeah. Yeah, it seems
So,
to be. I mean, I also like, and on that same tip, it seems that the earth was here before God created all this stuff. Like,
it
and
doesn't
that
say otherwise.
well, it says it was just without form and void,
Mhm.
So, yeah. So, okay. So I think it was 19. Lamech took to himself 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other was Zillah. Let me scroll down. Ada bore Jabal. He was the ancestor of those who dwell in tents and amidst the herds. And the name of his brother was Jubal. He was the ancestor of all who play the lyre and the pipe. As for Zillah, she bore Tubal Cain, who forged all the implements of copper and iron. And the sisters of Tubal Cain was Nama. And Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, O wives of Lamech. Give ear to my speech. I have slain a man for wounding me, and laid a lad for bruising me. If Cain is avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. What the fuck does that mean? I mean, that's a lot that just happened there. So,
Well, that the part at the top, it's interesting that yeah, the Jabal and Jubal are ancestors. Like, he was the ancestor of all who played. That sounds uh like spirit ancestors. Like it. If he's the ancestor of all, he's the ancestor. He's the ancestor. He was the ancestor.
I always just thought that's where like the musicians came from,
Yeah, totally. So he's the root of all musicians.
Yeah, he'd be like,
He's the headwater.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, that
the
makes sense.
the Jackson 5 or something like that, It's
Right.
like this is
And
this
all
is
the
the
all the
bloodline.
all the tent dwellers. This is the first tent dweller.
Yeah.
This
When,
is the
like,
first.
So were they
musician.
the first people to make tents? And like
I
the
just think
weirdest
they're
part is that like why is that in the store? Like what?
Well, that's the thing, is like a lot of this is like a lot of this is just like it's foundational. Like they got to like, well, why do we live in tents? Well, shit, we got to put the guy about the tents back in there, would you? I knew he was going to ask that. Why do you play the lute? God damn it, put the lute player back in there. I swear to God, this little kid's going to drive me crazy. Put him out in the tent. Put him out of the tent. Go tend the camel. Like it's that sort of thing where like the kid's going to ask, put it in there. But then we get back into the story. So he kills a guy for being wounded. Sounds like it was self-defense.
A lad, a young man.
Well, no, it's not till later. I've slain a man for wounding me, and a lad for bruising me. So it sounds like
Two different guys, huh?
Well, probably a father and son.
Ooh.
Right. I've slain a man for wounding me. So it sounds like he was attacked and he didn't beat the shit out of the guy and killed him, and then killed his kid because his kid wouldn't fuck off. Right?
Yeah.
Am I reading that right?
I mean,
the kid bruised him.
I could take it that way. I just don't understand why this is so fucking important. Like, and like, there's a lot you can go back through that, like, they're marking out different periods and different incredibly famous people of the Jewish faith, but it's still just like, I feel like I'm missing what's really the important essence of the story, because so he kills more people than Cain, so his punishment is going to be like 10 times that.
No, not his punishment. Your punishment if you kill Cain. And this isn't Cain saying this.
Oh, I always took it as like if you'd. Oh man, no, this isn't Cain. This is Lamech.
I know, but Cain. But what's being said is if Cain is avenged sevenfold. And what that means is if Cain had the mark, Cain was under God's protection. If you killed him, you would be the avenge would be 7 times as bad as what Cain did, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with Cain. Found a city. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So now, if you heard
Cain,
Lamech,
sevenfold vengeance. Yeah. Okay. So that's what it's 70 times. Whoever kills, But that sounds like it's the Lord talking again, right? If Cain, otherwise,
but it's
Lamech's
him talking to his
third
wives.
person. Well, it was up here, but then that's a different. But that's he's talking to his wife in
definitely could be
in 23,
like
and then in 24 it starts with something else.
Mm-hmm. I as I was on this week, I thought I do kind of think it's him still talking to his wife, but I could see that now as a possibility.
Well, when you first read it, I did too. But then, but if we're gonna stop and, it's like a lot of this shit we're not gonna like be able to like. I don't know. There's only 2 ways to. I don't know what that means.
I think we're fucking figuring out the fucking middle of the motherfucking universe, my friend.
Roger that.
But like, I do think that maybe back then,
Dude,
I could see a real argument for revenge being detrimental to society, meaning that, we're so, I'm assuming, more animalistic back then. We're much closer to.
Well, and if you watch that Romeo and Juliet, it's always a fucking eye for an eye.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're not even allowed. Like you're predisposed. Like when
animals.
Or just bloodline. It's like you kill one of ours, we kill one of yours because it's bloodline, and it's all about fostering the bloodline. So it was a really big deal if you killed one of ours.
And if that gets out of control, you could see how it literally could kill all humans. It could just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so maybe that's like the moral of the story is like, no matter how bad it gets, you've got to remember, like, it will get worse if you, so
Dude.
I don't know.
But what's great is what's coming.
Okay, so
dude, and this is how far I got. I got a little further than this.
Okay,
and this is why when I read this, I'm like, dude, go ahead.
Okay, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth, meaning God has provided with me another offspring in the place of Abel, for Cain had killed him. And to Seth, in turn, a son was born, and he named him Enosh. It was then that man began to invoke the Lord by name. That's Yahweh. When it's spelled that way, all capitals, it's Yahweh.
And that's God be.
It's God be.
All right. So this and Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth, meaning. So that doesn't make any sense. Meaning God has provided. So what? Seth means God has provided me with a G with G.
I guess.
Another offspring in place of Abel, for Cain had killed him. But so the part what I see is Adam knew his wife again. That's twice. Okay.
Second time they boned, huh?
Yeah. But they've had 3 sons. So you tell me, what's Eve doing on the side?
Well, I mean, it's
God D.
That. I mean, what fucking religion from back then doesn't have a god fucking some women's?
I don't know.
So, I mean, I don't know if there's any that don't, right? Oh, there's got to be.
There could be. Well, there must be. Well, yeah. but this isn't one of them.
No, it is not.
No. I mean, this one, they definitely have gods throwing their their rare seed around. Apparently it's not very rare, but it is potent. That's what I saw. Is like, so every time they talk about when Adam knows his wife, they use that term. Right?
Yeah.
Cain, Abel, they don't talk about him knowing his wife for Abel. She just said, hey, I got another baby with the help of God.
Right.
So,
Dude, and why is this so fucking looked over? Because
man.
have you read past this?
A little bit.
Okay,
A little bit.
sorry. Forgive me. We have skipped over something massively blaring. How about the fact that Lamech is like a goddamn fucking G? He's got 2 wives. He's got fucking 2 wives. That's polygamy right there.
Well, no, that's just having 2 wives. They didn't call it polygamy. If you could afford 2 wives, that's what that's your deal. Is like you can have as many wives as you can afford because you want to have as many offspring as you can afford.
It's in Christians' Bibles that the type of human beings that like disown their own children if they are homosexual. You see what I'm saying? So it's like this. The weird thing is like the most prudent and prude and like the type of people that go up to girls on the fucking beach that are attractive and tell them they're immodest. Like it's in your fucking Bible. This guy's slinging dick all around. Like, how do you deal with this?
Right.
It seems like God likes him. He's gonna keep him safe, even though he fucking killed some people.
He's not keeping him safe. There's like, and again, we don't that's unclear, and that's
unfinished. See, that's how I take it.
There's a lot of missing shit. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, yeah, I like it. Yeah, keep going.
Like, there's missing shit that if Cain, like, it doesn't say who says this. If Cain is avenged 7-fold, then Lamech 7-fold. It doesn't say who's saying that. It also doesn't say. It just like skip like I totally feel like that's a fucking missing piece. You know what I mean? That's that. There's a perspective, not perspective. Like there's missing information. That's not all the story.
Like yeah, and I mean I was reading this thing on Socrates this week that right before he drank the hemlock because he died. The state killed him. He was like talking with all these philosophers in this garden, and it's all written down by one of his pupils. And the very first thing that this pupil brings up is, "This is what was told to us." And I thought that was so cool because he's right out of the bat, this guy who's trying to convey this information for the ages, is saying, like, this, I wasn't even there. This is the stories that came out of there. Right. So do with it what you will, right? Like, and like, that is totally, that is in no form in the Christian church I see today. And most people have made themselves their own gods, and they sit in their ignorance thinking that they interpret this better than other people, and offer no facts, offer no details, offer no verses, and
interpret that which they have not read.
It's pretty weird. Yeah. And so like I love hearing what you have to say about this because it's so fresh and such a new perspective for me, because
so fresh and so clean.
So fresh, so clean. Because I've been fucking reading this shit my whole life, and most of it, it's like a hot potato. I fucking don't know what to make of it at all. I just don't. And now we're into we're gonna, next time is chapter 5.
Oh, we're 5. Oh, right.
Yeah. But like, shit gets unreal from here on out. Like, and it's weird to think that these first 4 chapters have been the tame ones, because of like the fact that there's 2 different gods right off the bat, the fact that the earth existed before.
Yeah.
God doesn't create it ex nihilo. He doesn't create it out of nothing.
Right.
It was here. The fact that this serpent wasn't Satan. I mean, with the effects that he causes, maybe it works. Maybe the metaphor is good enough. But like,
well, and the benevolent God and God be, like the glaring discrepancies between what you're allowed to do with God A and what you're allowed to do with God B. It's like, how does that and then how much people take from God B and ignore God A.
They don't even acknowledge God A. They say it's the same God.
Yeah.
But even though it's a different God from the Babylonian, from the Canaanite culture, this Israelite comes out of, right? Yeah, no, it's the same God. I mean, like you said, when the church goes in to read the Bible today, unfortunately, the pastors are priming everyone. The worship, the whole service is geared around presupposing everything and then applying that. So they already have what they want the Bible to say. They already have their glasses on with that, and they're not going to be able to see anything outside of it.
Yeah, they have a very specific. They have an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
They have an agenda that the words need to back up.
Yes,
and so like you said, they cherry pick the most appropriate lines or chapters to back up what they want to try and. Oh, this is proof of what I'm saying and how my perspective is correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, otherwise, because if you're going to obey the whole fucking book, then you can fucking have 2 wives, apparently.
Yeah.
So there you go.
The earliest did. Yeah.
the best of you. That's crazy. That's crazy. I
just can't.
The cherry pick thing. Before we get further, the cherry pick thing is so funny because I'm making this like timeline that I just keep filling in every day of like events, and it's like my own personal one because I haven't been able to find one that gets me off. All biblical, but things that I think important. And I'm not fully filled in, but the Bible, what we have now, what we're reading, is actually these 67 other books that have been written over vast periods of time, over different languages, right? And we've already said all this, but when they get put together, when they get canonized, it's really fucking weird. Because every Christian says they don't cherry pick the Bible, and everyone's like, we stand on the word of God, Like, you'll hear this from fucking pulpits all the time, like solo scriptura, like scripture only was a thing always taught in the denomination.
Which means what?
Scripture only, I believe, or like only scripture. Only
which means what? What does that mean?
It means that every answer to every single thing that can happen here in this existence is found in this collection of these books. And that these books,
How do you tear out a door frame that's got dry rot?
One board at a time.
No. I mean, can you show me where in the Bible it says how to do that?
Oh,
is the Bible like Google? Is it like Google? Is that what they're saying? Like, oh yeah, just look it up in the Bible.
I mean,
mostly
just Bible it.
Just Bible it.
I guess. And
Bible it, would you?
Yeah. Circumcisions.
Hey, I want to kill the moss in my lawn. Can I Bible that?
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is it's like what you can see right off the bat how it becomes a selfish, man-centered religion where they're putting themselves as God. And I've sat forever with people in their houses, and they just open the Bible and they read it, and they'll like take a verse and be like, that's what this means. And they'll just say it. And it's like they don't look it up in a thesaurus. They don't look who wrote the book. They don't look when it was written. They don't look who it was written to.
They don't question who's actually speaking in the story.
No, they think Matthew was written by Matthew and John by John. And, so far, we don't know much about any of these books. And that's the fucking truth. We just have the books. They're incredibly important because they were passed down forever. So yeah. There's a lot of validity, but you being fucking crazy doesn't help you make your point, especially not now with fucking real Google, So, I was going on this rant for a reason because we were just talking about cherry picking the Bible.
Oh, cherry. Yeah.
So
Solo. What is that? That you were going to tell me. Does that mean
solo scriptura?
Does that mean that that's a badass word? That's like that could be on a T-shirt or like get a tattoo. That's solo scriptura.
But I think it's like
sepultura.
I just don't agree with it. Yeah, maybe we'll have all blasphemous songs. I believe it means like on the word of God only, or only the word of God. It means that.
But you were saying it sounded like you said it. You were meaning that you were saying that like I stand by the word of God, like you don't
Stand
cherry
on.
pick.
Yeah, we don't cherry
Stand
pick.
on. So
These
sola
colors don't
scriptura.
run, right? No. Well, so this is a prominent theme in the any type of Baptist um, denomination. Do you know much about Baptist? Like, you know who Billy Graham is?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So this movement comes about very early on. Well, I shouldn't say very early on, but
Yeah.
you remember
Yeah,
tent
60s.
revivals after like the
Yep.
Dust Bowls and shit. Yeah. So through the South, this, I believe his name was Jonathan Edwards, this really famous preacher, kind of started getting a lot of heat with this sermon he had called "Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God," and this is where you see the fire and brimstone shit come out, right? So Baptists are really concerned with getting people into the tent, getting them saved from hell. That's the whole church is built on this.
Were
And
they
so,
the? Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh no, ask.
Were they the first people to be like they knew the Bible so well that anything you said they could counter with a Bible verse?
No, that I think that's what you'd consider the Pharisees in the Bible. So those people actually existed throughout the the whole Old Testament basically, and with Jesus, like he's always talking with the Pharisees, and those are essentially the Pharisees are just the people who are literate in the society because not very many people were literate back then.
Okay.
Like 99% of the population was illiterate.
So everybody during Jesus's life and before, they all had the Old Testament, and they were all that was like the Bible.
They were
then?
writing it, right? So like, you know, these people, yeah, they like we essentially pick up from them writing their story and them passing it down through the generations. So it's getting added to kind of as we go on. It's not exactly in chronological order, but it will be fun. That's much longer.
But that's what I'm saying is like the Old Testament was the Bible back in the day.
Was you cut out? Sorry.
Was the Bible like during in up to like when Jesus is alive? Is the Old Testament a document?
Not completed. The Old Testament, the New Testament, some of the books were actually completed around the same time. But the Torah, the first 5 books, and these which we're in, yes, and then a bunch of it was right. A bunch of it was, and so yes, those books they were reading. The people that could read, and when they would meet in the square and the synagogues, and they would read these scrolls, and they would read these stories, and they would talk about them. Yeah. So they, and you can also see them kind of evolving that way too. But yeah. Where were we going with this? This is crazy fun. Baptists, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's the
problem. We totally talked about that, getting them in the tent and saving them. And that's why,
yeah. And it's not it's not the most intellectually fueled denomination, unfortunately, but they usually are really good people and they work really hard. But like, they're concerned about people going to hell, and rightfully so. That's a beautiful. If you were gonna if a truck was coming for you, and I could push you out of the way.
Yeah. I totally get that part. But if we end up, and I didn't even get to, I didn't even start off with my weekly reading from the Immortality Key. If it turns out that 400 AD when they started stepping on all of the mysteries, when they started disallowing the psychedelic versions of the Eucharist, it's like then all of this other shit is bullshit. There's no heaven and hell. There's not this hell is dying before you've, and this is just my interpretation so far. Hell is just dying before you have seen how interconnected all of life is.
Do you want to know how many times hell is mentioned in the Old Testament?
Yes, I would love to.
Not a one.
Not one, Leif. You know why?
A one.
Because they made that shit up.
Yep, and you can watch
They
it
fucking
evolve.
made that
You can actually. I'm studying it right now. I don't know much about it, but here's the thing: in the Old Testament, there's a lot about this place called Sheol. Okay, and it's always referred to as a pit, and almost every single reference of it, it's referred to. It's like in context with the ground, with a grave, but the idea was you go to nothing. So hell as punishment comes about it with actually I think Socrates, and then gets perfected with fucking Milton, right? With Paradise Lost. So
don't know.
Christianity takes this idea and expounds upon it, and over the years builds these two places. But there's actually not even much heaven in the Old Testament. So this is something we're going to find out.
So so when you're saying that these Baptists are relatively good people, I think that the foundation that premise is based on is faulty. I think they're misinformed. I think they're misinformed, and they're, again, maybe they think they're in the right place, but just because you think you're on the right road, just because Eli thinks he's driving in the right direction because he's driving, doesn't mean he's getting anywhere closer to the club that you guys are supposed to be at. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you're on your way to salvation. It just means you're on your way to somewhere.
Yeah, the path to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Like,
there's no hell. That's the thing, is like
you could. I think metaphorically speaking, you can make here your life a living hell. I think you can make other people around you's life a living hell. I do think.
I think that you could also. I think you could also be so misguided in this with your spirit and this body that you are blessed with that when you died, your energy would not be a positive energy.
Yeah,
and it would be like you'd be trapped. Like, I think that the trapped energy thing totally is valid and happens. And but that's just, obviously there's no way to prove that, and I'm not saying there is. And
that's our whole podcast is based on that shit.
Yeah,
we can't. These are so the spiritual realm, like, and I definitely went pretty hardcore atheist there for a couple of years, but it's very hard to explain. And what brought me back was psychedelics, and I do believe that's what we're trying to do, is foster open conversation on these topics, that we can maybe actually get some perspectives, and we can actually free it from this black and white narratives that cause everyone to fight and us to get nowhere.
I would love people to be like, oh, that's an interesting thing, but here's what I really think.
Yeah,
like, I'm super into right? Dude, let me know.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. We don't know. We're just fucking stoners.
We're just going through this.
Mostly Leif's a stoner. I'm too old to be a stoner now. I used to be.
Definitely every Thursday. I'm a super stoner. Yeah. But like,
that's a good stopping point.
The super stoner part? Yeah.
Well, I just mean we're.
Yeah, we started late. We went late. We're committed. See this shit?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we'll say goodbye to everyone, because we never end this thing correctly. We just go.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We love you.
Appreciate all of you.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go. So we got a Christmas special next week. Excited to see you all there. Smooches.